selflessness, imprisoned by a selfish bitch. Chew me up and spit me out. I fell for this so many times, it's ridiculous. And still I stick with this, I'm sick of this. But in my sickness and addiction, you're addictive as they get. Evil as they come, vindictive as they make them. My friends keep asking me why I can't just walk away from them. I'm addicted to the pain, the stress, the drama. I'm drawn to shit, I guess I'm a mess. Cursed and blessed, but this time I ain't changing my mind. I'm climbing out this abyss. You're screaming as I walk out that I'll be missed. But when you spoke of people who meant the most to you, you left me off your list. Fuck you, hip-hop, I'm leaving you. My life sentence is served, bitch, and it's just
Ooh, Tuesday stream. Yeah, let's go. I was about to send you the post. Well, I was making the post. And then I was going to send it to you. I still got to make the post. Oh, no, come back. Give me Amy.
Or the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Oh. Reverend Jesse Jackson, the civil rights leader and two-time presidential candidate.
And Trump's best friend, by the way.
Has died at his home in Chicago at the age of 84. He was a member of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s inner circle, marching alongside him for civil rights. He was with Dr. King when he was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee in 1968. Reverend Jackson became the and president of Rainbow.
Well, according to CBS, which is the next story I was going to get to, they were great friends. Yeah, Trump remembers Jesse Jackson, calls him a good man and a force of nature.
Bush coalition in Chicago, the first African-American to greet South African President Nelson Mandela when he came out of jail in 1990. This is Reverend Jesse Jackson on Democracy Now! Back in 2017, shortly after President Trump took office for the first time, he spoke about expanding the constitutional right to vote.
When we got the right to vote in 1965, blacks couldn't vote, white women couldn't serve on juries in the South, 18-year-olds couldn't vote, you couldn't vote bilingually, you could not vote bilingually. But we were able to challenge that and get proportional representation and democratize democracy.
After headlines, we'll hear from Jesse Jackson in his own words.
Democratize democracy.
On his past appearances in Democracy Now! And we'll speak with those who knew him well. A second round of indirect talks between the Trump administration and Iranian officials is underway in Geneva, Switzerland.
And nothing's blown up yet.
Iran's foreign ministry said it's willing to discuss limits to its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief, adding Iran will not accept zero uranium enrichment. On Monday, Iran's military staged war games in the Strait of Hormuz as the U.S. Navy steamed a second aircraft carrier strike group toward the Arabian Sea. The USS Gerald Ford is the largest
Air Force
carrier. Is it going to the Arabian
or is it going to the Mediterranean?
It was off the coast of Venezuela when the U.S. abducted the Venezuelan president and his wife. U.S. officials said Friday Trump is considering an attack on Iran that could last for weeks. Meanwhile, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, who's been pushing for the U.S. to topple Iran's government, was in Tel Aviv Monday. A visit, he said, was to reassure the Israeli...
He said he goes to Tel Aviv or he goes to Israel every 2 weeks.
...people that there's no gap between President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Iran policy.
There are two lines in the water right now. One's a diplomatic line, trying to find a way to end this regime diplomatically that will advance our national security interest. The other line is the military option. I think President Trump is looking for which line can catch the biggest fish. The bottom line is we're into weeks, not months, in terms of decision making.
Ukrainian and Russian officials are also meeting in Geneva, Switzerland today for U.S.-brokered peace talks, just days ahead of the fourth anniversary
of the Southern debutante out of office.
Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russia is demanding Ukraine give up 20% of the eastern region of Donetsk, which Ukraine refuses to do. Ahead of the talks, U.S. Senators Richard Blumenthal and Sheldon Whitehouse traveled to Kyiv to meet with Ukrainian President Zelensky and vowed to pass a bill aimed at Russia. Senator Blumenthal also said the U.S. should supply Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk cruise missiles and that the Pentagon should help guarantee Ukraine's security under any deal to end Russia's war.
There have to be ironclad, airtight security guarantees as the linchpin for peace. Ukraine needs and deserves a guarantee from the United States, not just European powers, that it will be actively engaged if Russia again attacks.
In Gaza, a senior Hamas leader involved in the ceasefire negotiations tells Dropsite News Hamas will not agree to demands that it unilaterally disarm.
We need to be able to make new NATO borders. I think that's probably the idea, right?
Bassem Naim also said Hamas will not submit to Israel's demand for a total demilitarization of the Gaza Strip. This comes amidst reports that President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agreed back in December that Hamas would be given a 2-month deadline to disarm. On Monday, the Hind Rajab Foundation said it's filed a criminal complaint in Chile seeking the prosecution of Ram Kovtun, an Israel Defense Forces sniper accused of taking part in the deadly 2024 siege of the Al-Shifa hospital. The World Health Organization reports at least 21 patients were killed during the attacks on the hospital. Meanwhile, the head of the United Nations Development Program is demanding greater access to Gaza to expand aid and recovery efforts. Administrator Alexander De Croo spoke from Gaza City.
More than 300,000 families in Gaza are looking for housing. Only 10% of people today living in Gaza have housing which has the basic accommodation. So 90% of the population
they destroyed like 80% of the buildings.
For housing, you have seen in which very difficult circumstances people have to live.
Yeah, it took a minute, but it got 10K. That's crazy, man. I didn't think that post would get a 10K. That post being this one. Israel coming in dead last in the bobsled event. Well, Swiss. Dude, so many people were like, oh, that must be France. It's like, bro, like, hold on, France. This is not a Swiss broadcaster. What are you, fucking... Dude, fucking... That's French, you fool. What do you think they speak in fucking Switzerland, man? What is Swiss besides chocolate? I don't know. I really don't. I don't fucking. Somebody's been commenting. Where was it? Hold on. Yeah, with 4 official languages, some of us speak Switzerlandish, Swissish, Swissaranio, and I was like Swisson, Swissiota, Swissubishi. Oh, I'm sorry. Back to the thread. Yes.
Madame Edelman
is French. This dude hit every fucking corner, man. Self-described Zionist to the core, who has posted several messages on social networks in support of genocide in Gaza. Genocide is a term used by the UN Commission of the Inquiry into the region. Edelman, who described the Israeli intervention as, I quote, the most moral war in history. He also mocked Free Palestine inscription on a wall in Lillehammer on the sidelines of the World Cup stage. He asked his followers to send strength to Farwash when this member of the Israel team, who is present here in Cortania, was engaged in the Israeli army in the Gaza Strip in 2023. This raises the question of his presence in Cortania during these games. Since the IOC has indicated that athletes who have, and I quote, actively supported the war by proactively being... Oh, you got too fast. Actively support the war by participating in pro-war events, being military engaged, or via their activities via social networks were not eligible to participate. That was the Russian demand. Allow them to not compete under a neutral ban.
Une polémique a déjà éclaté dans ce centre à Eugenio Monti en raison du refus d'un squeletonneur ukrainien de renoncer à un casque à l'effigie d'athlète ukrainien tué au front lors de bombardements russes. Le a disqualifié ce squeletonneur car il a enfreint, selon l'instance, la règle politique sur les lieux de compétition. Comme quoi, le sport est évidemment éminemment politique. On en a d'autres exemples cette année à Cortina, comme c'est le cas lors de chaque édition des Jeux Olympiques.
Like somebody who fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch going down. Came in dead last place. Yeah. Dead last. Nice. I'm sorry, back over here.
Have to survive.
President Trump called Cuba a failed nation Monday and refused to rule out military action aimed at toppling the Cuban government. Trump spoke to reporters aboard Air Force One.
And they should absolutely make a deal because it's really a humanitarian threat. We'll see how it all turns out, but Cuba and us, we are talking. In the meantime, there's an embargo, there's no oil, there's no money, there's no anything.
Cuba's deputy foreign minister responded to Trump's remarks, writing...
Didn't Cuba make a lung cancer cure with barely any outside help? Yes. They have cured lung cancer.
Quote, it's frequent for U.S. officials and diplomats to claim U.S. aggression is not responsible for difficulties in Cuba.
Yes, it's weird how these countries that we impose mass sanctions on and openly and also privately have tried to strangle, their economies don't do so well. And then, we start running the propaganda machine there internally and, create an uprising. Classic, behind the scenes imperialism, I guess.
Seems they don't listen to their president, unquote. The Trump administration's blockade of fuel has triggered a severe humanitarian and economic crisis in Cuba, compounding the impact of the U.S. economic embargo that's been in place since 1962. On Monday, Spain's foreign ministry said it would use United Nations channels to send humanitarian aid to Cuba. The announcement came a day after activists rallied outside the Cuban embassy in Mexico City, expressing solidarity with the Cuban people while protesting the U.S. blockade.
Proud of Mexico.
Faced with this attack that aims to leave Cuba without energy for hospitals, without fuel for its ambulances, without resources to bring food to the family table.
If they're in Mexico and Cuba, why are they speaking Spanish? Shouldn't they be speaking Mexican? Saw Mexico will not join Trump's Council of Peace too. The fake UN? Yeah.
Solidarity between peoples is emerging today as the most powerful antidote against the blockade. Because while the United States government imposes sanctions and punishment, dignified governments and peoples, like Mexico's, respond with brotherhood.
Minnesota's Bureau of Criminal Apprehension said Monday the FBI has formally notified investigators their agency will not receive access to evidence in the killing of Alex Pretty. Pretty was shot to death in Minneapolis January 24th by Border Patrol agent Jesus Ochoa and Customs and Border Protection Officer Raimundo Gutierrez, who fired 10 rounds in under 5 seconds. 6 of the bullets were fired as Pretty lay motionless on the ground. The FBI previously refused to share information about the shooting of Venezuelan immigrant Julio Cesar Sosa Celis, who was shot in the leg by ICE agents who...
Yeah, FBI under cash seems very business as usual, almost like, just autopilots itself.
Then lied about the circumstances of the shooting. And Renee Nicole Macklin Good, who was fatally shot by a Border Patrol officer on January 7th. Democratic Governor Tim Walz blasted the FBI's withholding of evidence, writing, quote, Minnesota needs impartial investigations into the shootings of American citizens on our streets. Trump's left hand cannot investigate his right hand. The families of the deceased deserve better, unquote. And on Capitol Hill, Attorney General Pam Bondi is facing bipartisan criticism after she told Congress all documents related to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein have been released. That's despite the fact the Justice Department still holds almost 3 million pages. On Sunday, Republican Congressmember Tom Massey of Kentucky, who co-authored the Epstein Files Transparency Act, told ABC News more files should be released and unredacted. Massey said he no longer has confidence in Bondi as Attorney General and responded to President Trump's personal attacks.
Donald Trump told us that even though,
honestly thought Marco would be the first to fall from the inner circle. No, Marco, dude, okay. It really seems like Marco's like driving the bus, without Trump, being none the wiser. Like it seems like that to me, right? On the brand for Trump to throw a woman under the bus. Yeah.
He had dinner with these kind.
We needed, this is the DEI of imperialism, of fascism, where you put women in positions with ultra fascist ideology running amok, right? Rubio and Miller team up behind the scenes. I wonder, Miller's got to be preparing for Trump to leave, right? I mean, not that he's going to leave willingly, but he could die.
Kinds of people.
He's old. People like that actor just died. He was 93. I mean, Trump's not very much younger.
New York City and West Palm Beach, that he would be transparent, but he's not. He's still in with the Epstein class. This is the Epstein administration, and they're attacking me for trying to get these files released.
On Monday, Thomas Pritzker resigned from his position as executive chair of the Hyatt Hotels Corporation, citing his links to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The release of the Epstein files revealed Pritzker had been in regular contact with Epstein after his 2008 plea deal on sex crimes charges. In Los Angeles, Mayor Karen Bass Monday called for Casey Wasserman to step down as
Is he
chairman
connected to our favorite billionaire, J.B. Pritzker?
Of Los Angeles' 2028 Olympic Games over revelations about his ties to Epstein and Maxwell. In France, police have been searching the Arab World Institute as part of an investigation into links between its former president, Jack Lang, and Epstein. Meanwhile, Columbia University said it's cutting all ties with 2 faculty members in its dental college after the Epstein files revealed
I'm sick of hearing people, they just lost their job. No, they need to go to fucking prison, man.
Regular process.
These people need to be prosecuted.
Epstein gain admission. And those are
it's not good enough.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for watching
Fantastic
Democracy
work.
Now!
Thank
on
you,
YouTube.
Amy.
Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make...
Trump was Jesse Jackson's best friend, according to CBS. They needed to be prosecuted in the face of the wall. Yeah, I mean, hey, as long as they're prosecuted.
President Trump is among the political
however they end up, which way, that's fine with me. According to CBS, Barry Weiss runs CBS. They were best friends.
Leaders mourning the death of civil rights icon Jesse Jackson. The Reverend Jesse Jackson was a longtime civil rights activist, Baptist minister, and two-time presidential candidate. He marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and was with King when he was assassinated. He founded and led the Rainbow Push Coalition to fight for social justice. Jesse Jackson was 84 years old. In a post on social media, President Trump said he met Reverend Jackson long before becoming president. He remembered Jackson as a good man with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts.
I don't like that.
President Trump also detailed the ways he said he helped Jackson.
I provided office space for him and his Rainbow Coalition for years in the Trump building at 40 Wall Street, responded to his request for help in getting criminal justice reform passed and signed when no other president would even try, single-handedly pushed and passed long-term funding for historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, which Jesse loved, but also which Trump did not love, which other presidents would not do. Responded to Jesse's support for Opportunity Zones, the single most successful economic development package yet, approved for black business men and women, and much more. Trump was he's Trump's the best. He's the most supportive. Trump himself might actually be black. Did we know that?
Jackson over the years, including providing office space for the Rainbow Push Coalition and supporting civil rights initiatives Jackson pushed for.
Not that Trump used to evict black families from his properties or anything like that, right?
Joining us now,
or that he's gotten rid of DEI initiatives and deported black immigrants as well.
CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe. Ed, thank you for your time today. Can you tell us more about President Trump's relationship with Jackson?
Yeah, it's among the many he had in the political and business communities, but they collaborated most notably in the late 1990s when Jackson had launched what was called Project Wall Street.
What is this shit, dude?
Or the Wall Street Project, which was designed to encourage the financial industry, especially to diversify.
What is this puff piece
among employees and to work on providing services to minority communities across the country. Jackson had worked for so many years on economic opportunity zones, investing in HBCUs, getting the business community to appreciate, understand, and invest in its minority customers and minority employees. So Trump, who owns 40 Wall Street, a pistachio-hued building there in the financial district, had provided office space and worked with him on some of those initiatives in the late 90s. Of course, thinks differently nowadays about how corporate America
is a capitalist puff piece, yeah,
inclusion and outreach, but at the time was a close collaborator of Jackson. They also met and spent time together back during Jackson's 1984 campaign.
Who wrote this?
When he visited the Trump facilities in Atlantic City for a Mike Tyson fight. And Trump and Jackson toured that Trump Plaza there in Atlantic City, were photographed together, a sign that Trump understood the appeal that Jackson had among those who were attending the boxing match, certainly, but also the intrigue it was raising across the country, as he was just the second African American to run for president on a major party, from a major party, and of course blazed the trail for so many others, not only black candidates up and down a ballot, but also progressives who were pushing for a change in how the Democratic Party approached issues of economic opportunity.
Mike Tyson is Maha, yeah.
Warfare.
I mean, next Trump is going to come out in support of Jasmine Crockett.
Middle East policy and a variety of other issues. He was among the first to
actually, you know what? He might be supporting Jasmine Crockett right now.
Standard practice and rhetoric for Democrats.
Yeah. Okay. Ed O'Keefe outside the White House for us today. Thank you so much for your insight.
In a way, yeah. What else is in the news?
A partial government shutdown is underway, and with Congress out this week and unlikely to return until next week, many employees of agencies under the Department of Homeland Security will continue working without pay for the foreseeable future. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries of New York is the top Democrat in the House, and I spoke with him this afternoon. Leader Jeffries, welcome back to the News Hour. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks to be with you.
So without a funding deal now, we're in day 3 of another partial government shutdown. We know Congress is out all week. So does that mean that a shutdown is going to last at least that long?
Well, as Democrats, we continue to be ready, willing, and able to sit down with our Republican colleagues anytime, any place, in order to make sure that we can get ICE under control. The American people deserve to have their taxpayer dollars used to make their life more affordable and not to brutalize or kill them. As was
she says Trump won't stop talking about her. She's definitely the preferred opposition. Yeah, oh, definitely. They don't want to see Talarico on the ballot. They do not want to see Talarico on the ballot because he is a good matchup against Cornyn. And he's an even better matchup against Paxton, who everybody knows is a corrupt fuck. And everybody hates. Cornyn, like in Texas, Cornyn is like a lesser known political figure. Just because he's lame. Like nobody ever talks about him. Like nobody wants to talk about John Cornyn. He sucks. He can't fucking cook a brisket. Disconnected rich fuck. Ken Paxton's been in the news because of his infidelity and all that fucking, a horrible person, top to bottom. And like, you can't get the image of his face out of your mind. So yeah, Ken Paxton obviously more popular, but obviously more hated. Talarico gaining a lot of momentum, saying the right things at the right time. Has a pretty good history. They don't want to see Talarico on the ballot. They want somebody that that they know how they work.
Was tragically the case with Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy. And we simply believe as a value proposition that immigration enforcement in this country, it should be fair, it should be just, and it should be humane. Donald Trump promised to target violent felons who are here illegally. Instead, ICE has been targeting law-abiding immigrant families and brutalizing American communities.
Does Ted still have his seat on lock? I don't know why he does.
And that needs to change.
In terms of where talks are to get to some kind of deal, though.
I really thought Beto had a pretty good chance against Ted Cruz, but then Cruz won.
Democrats put forward a list of demands last week. We saw a senior White House official on Thursday say that Democrats had rejected what they called their latest counter proposal. So for folks who are already out there working without pay right now, what can you tell them about how much closer you are to a deal today compared to last week?
It's very unfortunate that Republicans have decided that they would prefer to shut down FEMA, shut down the Coast Guard, and shut down TSA, as opposed to actually getting ICE under control, reining them in because the American people know they have gone too far, and ensure that ICE and CBP behave like every other law enforcement agency in the country. That's the objective that we are trying to achieve. Now, there are several things, common sense, strong proposals that we've put on the table that to date Republicans have rejected, including a requirement that judicial warrants be obtained before ICE agents can storm the homes of the American people or private property. We also believe that ICE agents, of course, should be trained, should have a excessive use of force policy that they adhere to, and that they shouldn't.
We got to train them to kill us better.
Sensitive locations like schools and hospitals, houses of worship, and polling sites. And we finally believe, of course,
everywhere else is fine.
Top line demands that we've made is that there should be independent investigations.
Hey, what if we just abolished ICE?
All right? ICE agents,
what if we did that instead?
Agents,
Dems love snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Yeah.
Jeffries, we've reported extensively on, I know, that the Democrats' demands in this case, but are you any closer to a deal? Have you talked to the White House in the last 3 days?
I haven't had direct conversation with the White House. My understanding, Donald Trump was down in Florida on the golf course yesterday, which is exactly what we saw from the president during the 43-day Trump Republican shutdown, a lack of seriousness as it relates to direct engagement between House Democrats and Senate Democrats. And as I've indicated, though there are staff-to-staff conversations, there have not been any principal-level discussions to date, either with the White House or with House and Senate Republican leaders.
Can I put to you what your fellow Democrat, Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, has said about where things are? He pointed out that the shutdown really is not going to have an impact on ICE, which saw a huge influx of funding from that so-called big, beautiful bill. He said what's really doing, as you pointed out too, is forcing TSA workers to work without pay. FEMA could also be affected. So if ICE reforms are what you want to see here, how does a shutdown that doesn't really affect the agency get you there?
First of all, we have until the end of the month to make sure that TSA agents don't miss a single paycheck, and that is our commitment as Democrats, and we need, of course, Republicans to join us with respect to TSA, along with the Coast Guard and FEMA, the other agencies that are part of the Department of Homeland Security.
And doing
John
nothing,
Fetterman,
really.
Of course, he knows that the one big ugly
How
bill
does that
which every
accomplish
single
anything?
Democrat and every single in the House and the Senate voted against was an egregious piece of legislation that both ripped away Medicaid from about 14 million Americans, $1 trillion cut to Medicaid, the largest in American history. It stole food from the mouths of hungry children, seniors, and veterans with $186
he's a
billion
hamster trying to
cut
seem tough in the
SNAP,
corner,
which
yeah.
also happens to be the largest in American history, and then use that money to provide massive tax breaks to the GOP's billionaire donors and to create this $75 billion slush fund for untrained and mass ICE agents to be violently
We gotta train
unleashed
them
in American communities.
and take the masks off.
We
Then
do
they
have to
can
address
kill
the
us.
dynamics related to the one big
That'll be
ugly
fine.
bill. But at this moment, in the context of the appropriations battle that is in front of us, we have an opportunity to make
That way they
bold,
can be like the regular
transformational,
cops
and
who kill
meaningful
1,300
changes
people a
in
year.
the law that will actually immediately impact how ICE agents are permitted to conduct themselves.
That's House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries joining us today. Leader Jeffries, thank you. It's good to speak with you.
Thank you.
This just in on my phone. No DNA match found on the gloves for near the Guthrie home. The cops still have nothing on Savannah's mother. Oh, this dude got jacked up. Damn. Mega Man jumps out of his truck to assault teen girl at anti-ICE protest. Classmates defend her, beat him off. Students who had been peacefully protesting started punching back at the man. More adults fighting girls. Yeah, Michael Brown, 54, was arrested for child abuse. One juvenile male was also cited for assault. He repeatedly drove his truck past the teenagers, verbally assaulting them when a girl allegedly threw a water bottle at him. About 150 students participated in the student-led walkout outside the high school in Grand Island, Nebraska. You fucking dumbass. Stay in your car, you moron. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is Gen Alpha, yeah. Props to Gen Alpha for fighting back, honestly. It's a lot of things. Ramadan, it's Chinese New Year, but to some of us, just regular New Year. Depending on who you are and what you celebrate. Mardi Gras?
God bless you, but I'm Chinese. I don't believe in God. Oh, I'm so sorry, my bad. May Karl Marx bless you with fair pay, job security, and no messages from your boss after 6 p.m. and on weekends. May Lenin bless you with discipline, clarity, and a strong leadership. May Newton's third law protect your heart. For every emotional labor you give, an equal and opposite effort must be returned. May Chairman Mao remind you that women hold up half the sky, and therefore you do not chase men. Happy Chinese New Year of the Horse. Thank you, comrade. God bless you.
It's based, yeah. Here, spread this one around. There you go. I'm gonna put that on my post. I don't know where my post went. There's too many fucking replies to the other posts. Alright. Oh yeah, martial arts robots dazzle at 2026 Spring Festival Gala. This is 4 minutes? I can't watch all 4 minutes. The robots are stealing our jobs! Was that a full backflip? I don't know. I don't think it counts. Whatever. This is literally me when I get an MVP on Marvel Rivals as Iron Fist, which I usually do. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. That's actually pretty fucking cool. Wukong staff. Okay, no, yeah, we have to watch all 4 minutes of this, actually. And our AI and robots, all our AI and robots do is take our jobs. And make fucking CSAM. He did it, bro! He did it in reverse! Yo! Oh, you faked him out, dude. What? Just when you thought it was a robot malfunction, it was on purpose. They're going full drunken master, yeah. Straight up Jackie Chan stuff, man. Yeah, for real. What? Robot doing elbow windmills, man. The propaganda is working? Yes. This propaganda is working for sure. On me. Although I gotta say, you know, was already kind of China pilled since Yao Ming. Yeah. They brought up the tall, is this robot taller than the rest of them? The master robot? He looks a lot more fluid too. Dude, that was crazy. Meanwhile, we get this touring around the United States. Shen Yun.
It's that time of year again. You'll see posters for Shenyun, China before communism, and you might think, what is that? And you'll consult Google, whose AI will proceed to tell you that It's run by Falun Gong, a peaceful religious group that the scary Chinese Communist Party has deemed a threat and an evil cult and banned from practicing in mainland China. But now they practice everywhere else in the world, and they've even accused China of harvesting practitioners' organs.
Are they funded by the CIA?
We know better than to believe this, right? Falun Gong is in fact a Chinese fascist religious cult that is backed by the U.S. State Department and CIA.
Yes.
Essentially as anti-Chinese communism propaganda. They've received at least $50 million in State Department funding, and the founder, Li Hongzhi, who claims to be an alien, is in exile in New York State. They believe that homosexuality is causing the end of the world. It makes you unworthy of being human, and gay people should be genocided. They reject modern medicine, and one of the primary reasons the Chinese government banned them was because practitioners were dying from refusing medical treatment. They're also not too hot on race mixing.
Is it Scientology?
Alien Li Hongzhi has said, the way alien beings get human beings to shake free of the gods is to mix the races. Falun Gong also runs the Epoch Times, a far-right newspaper that has a lot of really nice things to say about Donald
the Epoch Times,
and
yeah.
their touring Shenyun show preaches the evils of communism and harkens back to a mythologized, glorious past for the last 5,000 years in China before communism ruined it all and pulled 800 million people out of poverty.
Oh, what a terrible thing to happen.
Falun Gong is a fascist cult, right? It's that time of year again. You'll see posters.
Wow, yeah. The more you know. Oh boy. All right. Yeah. Oh, sorry. My Texas news got interrupted by my China news. Back to Texas. Newly released body cam footage shows the moments when police arrived in the home of Prosper, Texas, not far from here, after a father fatally shot his 23-year-old British daughter on January 10th, 2025, so a year ago. We were talking about guns, and she said, "Do you got a gun?" And I said, "Yes." I got it out, and it just went off as she stood there, the father, Chris Harrison, told police. As I pulled it out, it went off. No criminal case was brought against Harrison after a grand jury in Collin County declined to indict him. That's great. That's the same grand jury I would face. The Cheshire Coroner's Court in England opened an inquest to Lucy Harrison's death. Her boyfriend, who was at the scene, says the shooting took place after Lucy and Chris had a big argument about President Donald Trump ahead of his second inauguration. Does he look guilty?
Can you explain? Now.
So what's that?
No, so we were. She was just about to go to the airport.
Who is she to y'all?
That's our daughter.
Okay.
It's my daughter.
Okay.
And we were getting ready to go to the airport, and we were talking about guns. And she said, "You got a gun?" I said, "Yes." I got it out, and it just went off as she stood there. As I pulled it out, it went off.
Okay.
It must have been, obviously.
Did you put the gun on the bed?
He was like,
straight away, yeah.
He was like, "Yes, I got a gun. Do you want to see it?" Like, is that what he did? Yeah, BS meter is fucking high, dude.
Where was it at?
It was in the bedside cabinet.
Okay, you have like a little. You just keep it in there.
In a locked box.
Okay.
And we took it out to look, and just as I picked it up, it went off.
Okay.
Do you know?
It just went off.
Not 100% sure.
Okay. Can you explain?
Okay. Yeah. Bullshit. More Texas news.
That's going to prevent women.
Here's Chip Roy, one of our other politicians. Chip Roy on Fox News tries to explain why the Save America Act won't actually prevent women from voting. Sorry. Huh?
A lot of people are asking questions. They're saying, well, that's going to prevent women who've got complications with name changes. Hold on.
Yes.
We actually allow a fail-safe that you go and you can sign an affidavit that says, this is my driver's license. My name is Sarah Jones on my driver's license. Here's my birth certificate, Sarah Smith. I certify under penalty of perjury that I
don't think that's gonna work. I don't think that's gonna work. I mean, shit, I couldn't even vote when I moved to North Texas because they were like, "Oh no, you're registered in back in Houston." I remember hearing early in the year that people's passports were just getting canceled. What the fuck?
That I'm the same person. And we allow that. And we allow states to make other mechanisms under their laws to make sure that they match it.
I even had they have like an on-hand judge that was like, okay, well, we're going to, do documentation so that you can vote in this county. Basically, you swearing the truth or whatever. And so I swore and I did the whole thing, and they still rejected my vote. They rejected my vote. I didn't know until months later that I got a letter in the mail, and they were like, yeah, your vote didn't count. You're welcome.
That is all that would be required of a married woman, because that is a major talking point coming from Democrats and across the mainstream media, that you are disenfranchising some 69 million married women.
A lot of people are asking questions.
Chip Roy? Lie? Unheard of. Thanks, Jill Stein. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, Pam Bondi mentioned earlier. Let's check this out.
Thousands of pages of documents. Why would the FBI have a case? Why would there be thousands of pages of documents in a case where nothing happened? It seemed really weird.
Now I'm watching the Tim Dillon show. That background? Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Nothing happened. All of these women for years had just been wrongly accusing all of these powerful people. So it seems like it would be a bit strange that was the case, but there's a lot of people out there that are saying it's not a big deal. Pam Bondi, you got to remember, Pam Bondi is from Florida. She was, I believe, the Attorney General of the state of Florida. She's way in over her head. I feel bad for her. She's like a real housewife. She's not supposed to be doing this. They all get in there and they all think, they all go, oh, we're gonna, justice is here. The Avengers are here. Her and Cash and Bongino. He's already back to podcasting. It's in under a year. She has no idea what's going on. She gets in there and these
Florida.
These people are all unprepared. They're all unprepared for what is about to happen. They don't know. She doesn't know what's about to happen. She has no idea.
What is
And then they're given a choice. They're like,
the whole thing.
You are.
I guess
you're involved now in this cover-up. This is you. This is on you. You're in it with us. Kesh Patel's in it because he's probably being, he's another one's being handled. He's another one's being either controlled to some degree. He's lying. He knows.
He's on Epstein's Island. Yes.
And I'm not saying Kesh Patel's
is that what that is?
doing it, but others have.
Is that like the little
some people have said that. I've never
like
said
the little temple that they built on there?
Because he's been litigious about that. They've sued you. If you've said this very talented country singer is some type of tool to control Kesh Patel, you get sued. So I don't want to get sued, and I don't believe that. I believe it's a relationship based on love. Now, moving on, Pam Bondi, here she is crashing out, as the kids would say, crashing out about why she has not indicted any of the billionaires, kings, prime ministers, ex-presidents that are on the Epstein.
And you realize you're a yes man woman working for a PDF cult member?
The answer to that is that she's not able to. She's told she's not allowed to. And she herself, what does she want to pick a fight with Sultan whoever? I was so worried that was the guy that owns the hotel that I stay at. I was really worried because the guy who owns the Beverly Hills Hotel, which I love, and I stay at, but also I go to lunch here all the time. He was the Sultan, but it's not him.
It's Pam's not crash him. Out.
And if I had found out that the owner of the hotel that I love was torturing people, it would have been a real moral quandary for me about whether or not I should go there. Because I don't like when people get tortured, obviously, but I don't love the Four Seasons over there. I don't love it. And I think they're the top hotel. So then I'd have to be in my car going, well, if I don't go to this hotel, I mean, does that result in people not getting tortured? Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem to make. So let's take a look at Pam Bondi again here. Pam Bondi, this is her, and none of these people can keep their cool because they're under tremendous pressure, you know, and I'm not defending any of them, but they're under tremendous pressure because the things that are in these documents are will unravel governments. So let's take a look here at Pam Bondi.
The Dow right now is over.
The Dow
is over $50,000. I don't
That's
know
right.
why you're laughing. You're a great
Red Roof
stock
Inn was
trader. I
notorious
thought
for
you
having
were
trafficking happening in
The
Aspen.
Dow
Wow.
is over 50,000.
I actually like Red Roof Inn
right now.
I guess not anymore.
S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming.
That's right.
That's what we
Who
should
cares
be
if we
talking
kidnap
about.
their children? What does it matter? Who cares if we kidnap their... The Dow is up. The Dow's up. Who cares if we snatched your kids and took them to an island to abuse them? The Dow is up. So what? So what? We're part of an ancient blood cult. The Dow is up. So what? We perform sacrifices to deities so that we can have their power. The Dow is up. You know what the NASDAQ's doing? The blue chips, the S&P 500. Why don't you shut your mouth about the kids that we abducted and sacrificed so we can please Lucifer or Baal? So what? The Dow is up. So what? We worship Baal. Maybe you should thank Baal for the Dow being at 50,000. You're a pretty good stock trader, Raskin. From what I hear, maybe instead of angering Baal, you thank Baal. Thank Baal for what he's done for American 401ks. Baal. Baal has done more for the S&P 500.
I'm happy to see the Rogan sphere.
Joe Biden didn't do anything for the S&P 500. We had to go
Reacting
to Moloch
this
and
way.
Baal. That's
Dylan's part of the Rogan
telling
sphere,
everyone
right?
to thank Baal.
Or at least the right wing.
Demon Baal for
You know,
the
more
S&P
liberal
500.
podcast
And don't
pros.
worry about the child sacrifices. But by the way, that's kind of what she's saying. It's actually what she's saying. Now, she's not articulating it as intelligently as...
I had to explain to my partner that before monotheism, Arabic religion was polytheist.
I am. She frankly doesn't have the ability.
Theistic.
What she's saying is that Moloch and Baal are protecting the American economy, and that if we have to sacrifice a few people, it's not the end of the world.
Gotta crack a few
And if
eggs.
you keep making it a big deal.
I'll make an omelet.
If you keep prattling on about these disappeared women and children, you're going to anger the gods of the stock market.
Yeah,
That's what
there's only
Pam
one
Bondi
God.
is saying. The gods that we worship are of the stock market. A lot of pedophiles in the world, very few of them have what I have behind me, which is a temple. On the side of the island, temple. Let's watch the rest, please. Let's see the rest of this Pam Bondi clip, where this, again, is the Attorney General Pam Bondi, friend of the show, reminding Congress that it is not Joe Biden and Kamala Harris or Donald Trump or the chairman of the Fed. It is Baal. It is the entity Baal and Moloch who protect the American economy. Here she is.
We should
We
be
should
so
be
lucky.
talking about making Americans safe.
That's right.
We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? What does Moloch have to do with the Dow? Are you nuts? You're asking what Moloch, the god of child sacrifice, has to do with the Dow? The Dow is fake. You know it's fake. Finance is fake. It's what we say it is. It's
really
only to please Baal. I mean, what does the Dow have to do with Baal? Everything. But
Christians looking at polytheism and going demons, Satan, Lucifer. Yeah. Oh yeah. A Brooklyn drone manufacturer that supplies Israel was forced out of the city owned Brooklyn Navy Yard 6 weeks after Mayor Zoran Mamdani took office. The Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corp, whose board is appointed by the mayor, declined to renew Easy Aerial's lease. Aerial. Tethered UAS solution. Drone in a box solution. Proudly made in the USA. Oh, that's terrible. Oh no. Yeah, you should lose your job if your only skill is making bombs at the Nazi bomb factory. Do agree. Speaking of Nazi bomb.
In Cuba to make
Cuba
a deal.
again.
What does that deal look like? What do you want them to do?
Cuba is right now a failed nation, and they don't even have jet fuel to get for airplanes to take off. They're clogging up their runway. We're talking to Cuba right now.
This is the clip of him talking about Cuba?
Right now.
That we're talking to Cuba right now?
Absolutely make a deal because it's really a humanitarian.
Do you have to make a deal?
threat. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, and they're going to be very happy when they're going to be able to go back and say hello to their relatives and do things that they should have been allowed to do for a long time. I'm very interested in the people.
Can't you travel between Cuba and the United States?
Castro and the Cuban.
I thought you could.
They have been treated horribly. So we'll see how it all turns out. But Cuba and us, we are talking. In the meantime, there's an embargo.
Hey, it's not
There's
Gaza.
no oil, there's no money, there's no anything.
Hey, you just can't spend money there?
Would you consider an operation like the one in Venezuela?
I don't want to answer that. Why would I answer that? If I was, it wouldn't be a very tough operation, as you can figure. But I don't think that'll be necessary.
Who I think I was quoting. I had somebody. I had that saved in here for some reason. Otherwise. Oh yeah. It was Drop Site. Drop Site is again Donald Trump is again claiming high-level talks are underway with Cuba, even as 5 separate Cuban and American sources tell Drop Site no such talks are taking place. But he's saying that Marco Rubio is telling him that they're working on a deal, right? Hassan said, "Free ball for the press." Drop Site reports that Cubans have had no contact with Marco Rubio, and their suspicion that Rubio is lying to Trump about being in contact with them. This could be a good follow-up question. Have you personally communicated with the Cuban admin? See, this is why I think like Rubio's not undermining it, but he's running things the way he wants to run them. That's the way I see it. All right. The Cradle posted a video about Palantir. Palantir is here to disrupt.
Alex, as always, we have a lot of individual investors on the line. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end the call?
We're doing it. We're doing it. And I'm sure you're enjoying this as much as I am. Let's not talk to analysts about the burden of being right, our burdens of investing in ontology, our burdens of actually looking at the math, the burden of reading what the Rule of 40 is, the burden of being honest about what an enterprise software company is, or the burden of explaining to your friends that you're really happy. Maybe we should just stop talking about it. I'm very happy to have you along for the journey, and you are partners for us. Every Palantirian, we are crushing it.
Palantirian?
Everyone else who's listening, we are dedicating our company. We have dedicated our company to the service of the West and the United States of America, and we're super proud of the role we play, especially in places we can't talk about. And we love our success in the U.S. and globally. Also, you know, we are doing in the United Kingdom and many other places. Palantir is here to disrupt and make the institutions we partner with the very best in the world, and when it's necessary, to scare enemies and on occasion kill them. And we hope you're in favor of that. We hope you're enjoying being a partner, and we're really happy and very, very focused on what we're doing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That concludes Q&A for today's call.
Yo, all right, I guess. Is dude realizing that the bubble is bursting? Yeah. Here is Al Jazeera, a little bit more on Palantir.
Palantir is the AI firm used by Israel and ICE for surveillance. Its founder, Peter Thiel, appears over 2,200 times in the Epstein files.
Oh.
Here's what we found.
A handful of times.
Through their
then,
often cryptic communications, Thiel and Jeffrey Epstein revealed that they viewed crises as opportunities, flippantly referring to wars abroad. In June 2014, Thiel said that creating a mess in the rest of the world could limit U.S. intervention. Epstein also talked to Thiel about foreign currency devaluation with enthusiasm. Thiel was invited to Epstein's island, and they expressed loyalty to one another, like in this 2015 email where Thiel reassured the convicted sex offender that he was not at all intimidated by bad press. Epstein frequently connected people to Thiel, notably Israeli politician Ehud Barak. In recently leaked audio from 2013, Epstein encouraged Barak, at the time Israel's defense minister, to look into Palantir. Today, Israel is one of Palantir's most lucrative clients. Palantir provides predictive policing technology and artificial intelligence for automated decision-making, according to a 2025 UN report. When asked in 2024 what he thought of the Israeli army using AI to bomb Gaza, here's what Thiel said.
Broadly, the IDF gets to decide what it wants to do, and that they're broadly in the right.
Palantir's biggest profits are from the U.S. Department of Defense, which has committed to spending $2 billion. The Department of Homeland Security has allocated over $300 million to Palantir. By January 2026,
raking it in,
ICE had
man.
adopted Palantir's tracking tool called Elite.
Why is he always
which
wet?
extracts addresses from
I don't
healthcare
know.
data to locate
He
immigrants,
is, though.
as reported by 404 Media, based on internal ICE documents. Despite the evidence, Palantir claims on its website that it is not a surveillance company. We're obliged to point out
It's
that
just
being
a data
mentioned in the
company.
Epstein files is not evidence of wrongdoing. But from what has been made public, it's clear the convicted sex trafficker had a close relationship with Thiel and took an interest in his business. A business that's still thriving with its contracts with the world's richest and most powerful entities, which critics say pose real dangers to vulnerable people.
We should be concerned, to say the least. Oh yeah, back to Texas. Texans are now required to prove legal status to register their vehicles. Yeah, it's called a fucking ID, which you need to be a citizen to have. Fucking goddamn, this is a waste of time. This is all Republicans do in Texas, man. They're like, oh, make it legal to make it only citizens can vote. Yeah, dude, only citizens can vote. Yeah, but make it a law. Fucking wasting money here. Wasting money left and right. Yeah, here's the Talarico interview. Talarico on confronting Christian nationalism and strange days in the Texas legislature.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is a representative in the Texas State House who is currently running for the United States Senate. Please welcome to the Late Show YouTube page, Representative James Talarico.
The YouTube exclusive.
Now, here's the thing. I don't usually say this to a guest, but if people are watching this right now, it's because they found us online on YouTube. I did an act of the
2.8 million views.
explaining why. It's not the first time you've caused some drama. FCC opening probe into The View after appearance by Talarico. Do you mean to cause
Is it a slight or a benefit? It's a requirement.
trouble?
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
Honestly, I was iffy on this guy before. You know, he's grown on me.
And Stephen, this
was he on the network time? Yes, CBS and Trump's FCC ensured that this interview would not be aired on late night TV. So by doing that, they drew attention to the interview. So Streisand effect.
This is the party that ran against cancel culture, and now they're trying to control what we watch, what we say, what we read. And this is the most dangerous kind of cancel culture, the kind that comes from the top.
Did Crockett have a live TV slot? I don't know.
They went after The View because I went on there. They went after Jimmy Kimmel for
I'm
telling
sure
a joke
Crockett
they
was
didn't
on The
like.
View.
They went after you for telling the truth about Paramount's bribe to Donald Trump. Corporate
It had to be.
media executives are selling out the First Amendment to curry favor with corrupt politicians. And a threat to any of our First Amendment rights is a threat to all of our First Amendment rights. So I'm just
To fact check you, my network said our cancellation was a purely financial decision.
Got it.
And I
yes.
remain very grateful for the last 11 years. Now, you grew up in Texas.
Yeah, Jasmine was on The View a month ago.
There you are. You can prove it. They give you the adult boots as a child, and you're supposed to just grow into them.
That's
I
right.
understand.
That's right.
You served in the Texas House, and now you're running for Senate. The race, frankly, should not be as interesting as it is. Donald Trump won Texas by 14%. Why do you think this year Texas is considered a possibility by Democrats?
Well, I'm an eighth-generation Texan. My family has been in our state since it was Mexico. And across...
Since it was Mexico, and we had white people for a long time here. Yeah, the clip of her on The Late Show was old. Yeah,
across the state...
yeah, they're going to deport him too.
A backlash growing to the extremism and the corruption in our politics. And I have traveled every corner of Texas already, from El Paso to Beaumont, from Amarillo to Brownsville. And we've had thousands of Texans showing up to rally with us. And I can't tell you the number of people who come up to me at the end of these events and whisper, "I'm not a Democrat," like it's some kind of secret. and we've recruited 14,000 volunteers who are out there doing the work all over our state. We have.
Imagine a grassroots
This is one of the most exciting parts. We have shattered grassroots fundraising records, all without taking a dime from corporate PACs. And so this is really
it's still the Democrat Party, but yeah, I like what I'm hearing.
Powered movement to take back our state and take back our country. And I feel like we're building something really special in Texas, and clearly Donald Trump has taken note.
Now, one of the things that's come up in some of the conversations you've had on the Texas State House floor, which some of the videos I've seen you do, and one of the things that's gotten you attention out there, is that you are a Presbyterian seminarian. Presently?
Yes.
You're a seminarian?
Yes.
Okay. The right attempts to co-opt Christianity, to say that, you can't believe in God, you can't believe in Christ. I think that Donald Trump might have said something like that at the National Prayer Breakfast, like you can't actually be a Christian and be a Democrat. But the religious right...
I mean, if you recall, Comrade Talarico here.
How is that not just like pushing for class warfare?
We already have class warfare in this country. It's the billionaires waging war against the rest of us. And right now, the billionaires...
No war, but class war is what I'm hearing.
Winning for 50 years. Trickle-down economics is not a theory, it is theft. For 50 years... For 50 years, the billionaires have been stealing from the American people, stealing the wealth that we created.
Say it louder.
It's why everyone is so angry right now. It's why no matter how hard you work, you can't seem to get ahead. The American people are not asking for a lot. A job we don't hate, a house big enough to raise a family in, and a little left over so we can go on vacation every once in a while. That is a lot harder than it should be. Harder than it should be in America. So I'm not fighting for class warfare. I'm fighting for the American dream.
I hear you talk a lot about the wealthy.
He said, I'm not fighting for class warfare. I'm fighting for the American dream. If you want to wrap class warfare into a American dream package and say this is what you should be fighting for, this is what you're actually fighting for, I'm all for it, dude. Like, if you want to, you know, Trojan horse Marxist messaging into the American dream, yes,
it's largely
it can easily be done.
That references spirituality, but it's a political. What is your heartfelt hand out to the people who want to use religion as a tool of political power?
Well, for 50 years, the religious right, a political movement, that is the perfect.
Yeah, that's just how we do things around here. Can go a long way.
They convinced
Yes.
a lot of our fellow Christians that the most important issues were abortion and gay marriage. Two issues.
Also, I think, you know, for somebody that is he's a well-educated in like biblical studies, I believe. The general public now is very well aware of the way politicians and Republicans especially have twisted biblical teachings to suit them, right? I think it's very well known that, you know, these guys that are pushing Christian nationalism is because their agenda is to push white supremacy. They don't practice what they preach. Because if they did, then they would be a lot more inclusive in the movement.
Mentioned in the Bible, two issues that Jesus never talked about.
Ted Cruz did get shot down by Tucker, of all people, on how Ted's interpretation is wrong. Exactly.
Jesus in Matthew 25 tells us exactly how you and I and every one of our fellow believers, how we're going to be judged and how we're going to be saved. By feeding the hungry, by healing the sick, by welcoming the stranger. Nothing about going to church, nothing about voting Republican. It was all about how you treat other people. Don't.
And I mean, we got churches on every corner over here, man. There's a lot of religious people in Texas.
Before, don't tell me what you believe. Show me how you treat other people, and I'll tell you what you believe.
I think this is the proper messaging to try and get those people on board.
In our faith, we've got to get back to those fundamentals. My granddad was a Baptist
Stephen getting to talk to God as a Catholic was probably his favorite time.
Preacher in South Texas. And when I was little, he told me that Christianity is a simple religion. Not an easy religion, he would always clarify, but a simple religion because Jesus gave us two commandments.
Talk about
love
God on earth
and love neighbor. And there was no exception to that second commandment. Love thy neighbor regardless of race or gender or sexual orientation or immigration status or religious affiliation. And it's why I have fought so hard for the separation of church and state in the state capitol in Texas, because...
Well, I want to ask you about that.
Yeah, please.
Because you did, as a state rep, you fought against a bill requiring the Ten Commandments to be displayed in schools.
That's right.
Why, even on that level, do you think it's important to keep the separation, not just for the state, but for the church?
Well, because we are called to love all of our neighbors, including our Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, agnostic, atheist neighbors, and forcing our religion down their throats is not love.
Two of these bastards just chilling on TV.
It's why I fought so hard for that sacred
Just bros being
separation
bros.
in our First Amendment, because my granddad, he raised me to believe that that boundary between church and state doesn't just benefit the state or our democracy, although it certainly does, but it also benefits the church. Because when the church gets too cozy with political power, it loses its prophetic voice, its ability to speak truth to power, its ability to imagine a completely different world. And so this separation between church and state is something we have to safeguard. It's something we have to fight for. And I think we need someone in the U.S. Senate who is going to confront Christian nationalism and say and tell the truth, which is that there is nothing Christian about Christian nationalism. It is the
Agreed.
It is the worship. It is the worship of power in the name of Christ. And it is a betrayal of Jesus of Nazareth. And I just want to thank you, Stephen, because I know you're not a politician, but
Yeah,
you have
zealotry,
really
yes.
shown people in this country what Christianity should be and what it means to actually live out the teachings of Jesus, even in a talk show.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit on that. That's very nice of you to say. I would never lay that compliment to myself because I think I fall far short of what my standards would be. But I will agree with you on this. I think that it is bad for certainly my church or any religious organization to associate themselves from a political party. Right. How must it diminish God to be associated with something so small as a present political party?
That's right.
Because imagine this. Imagine that you managed to co-opt Christianity. Imagine if you managed to convince everybody that Jesus was on your side. If you then lose the election, sounds like you've got a pretty weak Jesus.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the key is you don't want to fit the big thing into the small thing. Mm-hmm. And God is the biggest thing there is. And so to try to fit God into
that's
a
really
political
good.
party, whether it's the Republican Party or the Democratic Party.
Yeah, like if God was on your side, then why did you lose?
Got it reversed. And so it's why I think we have to remember to put those big things first, to put the love of God and the love for our neighbors before anything else. Because right now, what you've got is people baptizing their partisanship and calling that Christianity. When in reality, your politics should grow out of your faith, not the other way around.
Now, there's been some attention on your
something
race
so
in
small and
recent
petty
weeks
as a
after
political party. Yeah,
TikToker that you met in person says that you privately said to them, and I want to get this quote, and they attribute to you, right? This person says, you said, I signed up originally to run against a mediocre black man, not a formidable and intelligent black woman, supposedly in reference to Colin Allred being the black man, and you've denied this.
Yes.
Okay. You denied that you ever said that.
That's correct.
Okay. Allred continues to talk about it, even though he's no longer running for the Senate.
why is Allred what?
So where does that stand? How do you, as someone who this person says...
Why is Allred even yapping, dude? He's the one that lost to Ted Cruz, too.
And what would you like to say to people?
Yeah, I mean, we know that misinformation spreads on the internet, and it's sometimes like a game of telephone. As I said in my statement, I did critique Colin Allred's campaigning as mediocre, but I would never attack him on the basis of race. I respect Colin Allred deeply, even though we have disagreements on the best way to
His campaign was completely mediocre. Like, they keep putting, like, the Democrats in Texas continuously put up just mid candidates, like top to bottom, man. It's very rare that you actually get a candidate that people are enthused for, that is actually saying the things that are not just corporate Democrat talking points. Like, it's pretty rare that we find somebody that we're enthused for. Are they Dems cosplaying as a conservative? I mean, that's generally what it seems like, because they try to get this angle. They try to get this angle that he just went through, where they're like, "Oh, well, I'm a good Christian, and Jesus this and God that," and all they do is just come across as a Republican. Like, that's it. They just come across as a conservative Republican. But it just and it never works out. Because you're not gonna get the religious racists and all this stuff to vote for you by appealing to that. Like, you're gonna have to come up with different messaging that comes at it from a different angle, or talk about how you want to work on the American dream and do like populism kind of stuff. The politicians in Texas are over here busy talking about like trans athletes playing in women's sports and blah blah blah, culture war bullshit. And they try to muddy up the waters, and the Democrats in Texas just continue to fall for it, or they put no effort into their campaign. They're like, me football player, me good. Like, okay, bro, like, yeah, I know you played football, I got it. Like, and you're in Texas, you're running as a football player in Texas. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get these people to vote for you, man. You got to say something else. You got to come up with a different strategy, and you're not. And you just have, mid-ass candidates that don't do anything. They're like, oh, I hate Trump. Okay, well, everybody hates Trump, man. Even the people that vote for Trump hate Trump. How are you going to get them to vote for you? Just because you say you hate Trump and you make memes and shit, like, it's not going to accomplish anything, man. It's just, I'm tired of seeing like terrible candidates, and I do think that Talarico would do much better against Ken Paxton. I hope Paxton wins the primary, and then I hope Talarico wins the primary, because then we'll really see what's going to be going on. Because those people that are now anti-MAGA, that are tired of MAGA, those Republicans that are tired of MAGA are going to vote against Ken Paxton. They see this guy as saying similar but better messaging. So it's an easy win, in my opinion. I think it'll be much closer.
And the best way to win Texas. My job in this moment is to try to lower the temperature, is to try to remind us that we are all on the same team, trying to change the politics of our state and change the politics of our country, because we are seeing the consequences of losing elections as we speak. And we have a moral imperative to win in November in Texas and to win across this country, because that's how we're going to get things back on track. And so I know things get tense in a primary. I know stuff flies around on the internet. I understand that.
Yeah, you're sticking the Zoran method, yes.
To keep our eyes on the prize, which is remembering we're on the same team and getting out there, doing the organizing work so that we can win in November.
Have you spoken to Colin already?
I have. I call them after all this stuff came out and everything started to blow up, just to reiterate what I said in my statement, that I do respect him.
And how did that conversation go?
I don't want to reveal anything in a private conversation, but I hope that he and I walked away with a better understanding of each other.
Now, you're serving in Texas House of Representatives. You've had your fair share of strange days. I understand you had to weigh in on legislation about, and I hope I'm reading this correctly, furries.
I did.
Now, I know what furries are. And is that the same furries that I do not use my work computer to search for?
That's right. Yeah, when I ran for public office, I never thought I'd be talking about furries in this job. But my Republican colleagues in the state legislature, they were promoting an internet hoax that Texas public school students were identifying as cats.
Yes.
And
I heard this story.
Yes,
I read the story.
And that the schools were providing litter boxes to those students. I know.
My understanding is it's not just Texas; it's everywhere in the United States.
It's an epidemic.
Everywhere.
Biden signed a law.
More culture war bullshit.
Litter boxes in every classroom.
Yes.
Anyway, they decided to write a bill to combat this completely made-up problem, and it fell to me as a member of the Public Education Committee to question the author of that bill. And so I just asked him a pretty simple question: has there been a single documented case of a school providing a litter box to students? And he couldn't name one. And this video went everywhere. You can look it up online.
So the law was working.
Yeah, that's right.
The law was working.
He actually kind of said something similar to that.
Yeah.
His response was that this law is to prevent that from ever happening.
Oh, I understand.
Which I guess that's true. But anyway, there is a point to this craziness.
The No Bears law.
They want us talking about furries and bathrooms, so we don't realize that they are picking our pockets, that they are closing our schools, they are gutting our health care.
And they are.
And they are raising taxes on all of us while they cut taxes for their billionaire donors.
Exactly.
The culture wars are a smokescreen.
Yes.
Because the real fight in this country is not left versus right, it's top versus bottom.
Let's go!
Thank you, sir.
thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being the first guest to ever appear only on YouTube.
I'm honored. I'm honored. Thank you.
Representative.
No war but the
Talarico.
class war. I like that. I like that. It's not a war between the left and the right. It's a war between the top and the bottom. That's exactly what it is. Yes. 100%. Speaking of establishment, corporate Democrats, here's Hillary Clinton.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is accusing the Trump administration of a cover-up over its handling of the Epstein files. The Clintons are set to testify before the House Oversight Committee next week as part of the panel's probe into the convicted sex offender.
Yeah, we know.
Hillary Clinton addressed the controversy surrounding the release and review of those files in a new interview with our partners at the BBC.
Get the files out. They are slow walking it. They are redacting the names of men who are in it. They are stonewalling legitimate requests from members of Congress.
Who will they throw under the bus? I don't know. Talarico, I guess.
Something is going on. They know it. I know it. If they're going to have me testify, I would prefer to do it in public because I want everybody to see it at the same time. If I have to do it behind closed doors, they're not going to like what I have to say because I have very strong opinions about what it is they're hiding and who they are protecting.
President Trump responded to the controversy yesterday, saying he has
You wouldn't
nothing
like
to
her
hide.
when
He
she's
added,
angry.
quote, "They went in hoping they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated."
Anyways. All right, I got to cut this one short. I got to go do stuff. And also, my arm hurts. I have a heating pad on my forearm. It's sore. This shoulder surgery's just jacked me up. My left arm's been super sore like months now. All right, I gotta go. You have a good night and enjoy the rest of your day.
Jonathan America, Texas at the wheel. Nobody needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonathan America, I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of